A 4.6-liter overhead cam American V8, true dual exhaust, rear-wheel drive, body-on-frame goodness, and the lingering, ever-present smell of Black & Milds. This is a 1997 Mercury Grand Marquis LS. When you own a car, you tend to notice more cars of the same model on the road. It's actually a phenomenon called frequency illusion. The human brain wants to find patterns in the constant stream of stimuli it's absorbing during your waking hours. The result? Your senses are heightened, and you'll think everyone in your neighborhood is purchasing the same car as you. Since owning this car, I've noticed two groups of people driving it: Vietnam War vets and teens who inherited the car upon their grandpa's passing. Everyone's grandpa owned this car. The third and fourth generations of the Grand Marquis are far more popular than the second generation like this one, having a longer production period and less exposure to the elements, meaning more are still on the road. But next time you drive by a senior home, take notice of the vehicles in the lot. I guarantee you'll see half a dozen Grand Marquis or the sister ship to the Merc, the Crown Vic. So if it was good enough for Grandpa, is it good enough for us? I argue it is. The Grand Marquis marks the high water point of the traditional body-on-frame, rear-wheel drive V8 American luxury car. There's a reason these cars were, and are, so popular. They're built like tanks, were the verbatim words spoken by my mechanic after I purchased this car and brought it to him to tighten up a few things on the front end. The Grand Marquis and its sister ships, the Crown Vic and Lincoln Town Car, were built to cruise and eat up highway miles at 75 miles an hour. You know that old lazy boy rocker your uncle or grandpa had? Maybe it was in an old cabin up north or in a dimly lit basement. For me, it was in my grandpa's breezeway. No one seemed to know where that rocker came from, but everyone loved it. The leather was soft and supple, yet it held its form. It was contoured from years of use. That is exactly what the front seat of the Grand Marquis is like. I've owned hundreds of cars in my lifetime. In fact, I've owned nearly every car I've ever featured on my channel, and this is by far the most comfortable vehicle I've ever sat in or driven. When I was in high school, my parents purchased a 1995 Ford Crown Victoria. It was derived from the same Panther platform in this Grand Marquis, and I have fond memories of that car, driving aimlessly toward Toledo, Ohio on the back roads of southern Michigan, the heat blasting and the windows down in early fall. Maybe it's just the nostalgia clouding my thoughts, with the car's crushed velvet-like cloth seats and butter-like suspension combined with the freedom of a driver's license at 16. But I've never been able to recreate that same feeling in a car. But that's nostalgia at its roots, chasing the mind's recreation of a particular set of circumstances during an instance in time that can never truly be recreated. I purchased this car sight unseen on eBay in June 2021. With 102,000 miles and located in North Carolina, the seller was asking $3,500. I offered $2,350. And to my surprise, the seller accepted my $2,350 offer without counter. Just like that, I was the proud owner of what appeared to be an exceptionally clean 1997 second-gen Grand Marquis. After spending nearly another grand to ship the car to Michigan, and another $2,000 for new ball joints, tie rods, front tires, a starter, headlights, LED bulbs, and a trans filter and a flush, this daily driver is ready to eat up the miles. And I'll love every one of those miles and minutes spent in it. This model, the second generation of the Grand Marquis, was first produced for the 1992 model year. It replaced the woefully outdated body and technology of the first generation boxy Grand Marquis. Although sharing obvious design cues with the Crown Victoria of the same stock, the Grand Marquis and Crown Vic utilized bespoke parts. Per the forums, the front door shells, fenders, mirrors, front and rear glass are some of the only interchangeable parts between the two models. And one of the most noticeable differences, the first generation Crown Victoria has rear quarter glass behind the C-pillar, whereas the Grand Marquis has the glass in front of the C-pillar. The 1997 Grand Marquis is the second generation of the Merc to use the Panther platform. The platform became one of Ford's greatest successes, in production for over 3 decades. The body-on-frame platform was exclusively rear-wheel driven and powered by a Ford V8. Starting in 1991, Ford's new 4.6-liter single overhead cam modular V8 motivated the powertrain. The modular is a staple of Ford, and regardless of where you live, these engines are so prevalent there's a nearly 100% chance you've ridden in a vehicle fitted with this powertrain. The modular fitted to the 1997 Grand Marquis is a 2-valve single overhead cam version. In 1997, during the last year of the second generation for the Merc, the 16-valve 4.3-liter produced 210 horsepower and 270 pound-feet of torque. Power is channeled through a 4-speed automatic transmission, in specific the 4R70W, which was also used in a dozen other Ford vehicles up until 2005. This 1997 LS model also has the handling package with true dual exhaust, a 3.27 rear axle, up from a 2.73, heavy-duty suspension, and specific rims. These lace pattern rims are called HPPs. There were 3 variants available between 1993 and 2002, but the differences were subtle, including different border around the lugs and different finishes, either machined or painted. As optioned and off the showroom floor, this Grand Marquis cost $26,083, $45,300 in October 2021 dollars. This car was manufactured by Canada Mercury and is finished in Silver Frost Metallic, one of 10 color options available for the 1997 Marquis. The interior is light graphite, one of 5 available options. We have an LCD digital dashboard in that lovely shade of automotive green that was so common on 90s and 2000 vehicles. 17 miles per gallon city and 25 highway is the rating, but 17.5 miles per gallon combined can be expected for this 3,796 pound car. But despite being 25 years old, we have automatic headlights and rear air suspension, although the rear bags have been removed and replaced by traditional shocks on this car. Getting the check air suspension light to turn off after removing the bags is a challenge for many Merc owners. Conflicting instructions are all over the web. None of them have worked for me. On the inside, we have our standard double DIN style radio, but if you purchase this year Grand Marquis, be warned, swapping out the radio is not as simple as it should be. For some reason, in this year, Mercury engineers decided to route the speaker signal for the 4 speakers through only 7 wires to a rear head unit and amplifier. The output signal then routes from the amp to the speakers. But because virtually all replacement radios have an output for speakers at the rear of the head unit, and the speakers are not wired to the Mercury radio itself, there's no way to use the existing wiring to send sound to the speakers. If you want a new radio, you're going to have to run new wires to the speakers, and it's just not worth the effort. But back to the ride. I truly enjoy driving this car. The instant low-end torque from the V8. The sound of the mechanical radiator fan. The gallery-like views out the windows unobstructed by large A and B pillars of modern cars. This car is effortless to drive. The steering wheel can be moved by the effort of a single finger. Passing power on the freeway is ample. The 281 cubic inch V8's torque is always on tap, but this 2-ton car is far from quick, reaching 60 in somewhere around 8 seconds. During its production, nearly 690,000 Grand Marquis were manufactured between 1992 and 1997. In Michigan, second-generation Grand Marquis this clean are exceedingly rare, and that scarcity will only increase as the years roll on. Although they're not all this clean, when combined with the 3rd and 4th generation Grand Marquis and Crown Vics, millions were produced, so they are available. But these Mercs will never be in high demand, except those who value the old-world reliability, and those who are chasing a traditional, rear-wheel drive, naturally aspirated American V8. And for me, that channels something else about frequency illusion. It doesn't only apply to something you own. If you train your brain to value these second-generation Grand Marquis by setting up a Craigslist alert, checking eBay, or scoping out your local retirement home, you'll find these cheap-to-maintain cars are available for a steal. All you need to do is heighten your senses.